Ralphie had been the leader of the lone outlaws for more than 2 decades, but Caleb and a few guys were talking about making some changes in the gang. For the first time in Caleb's life, everything was going perfectly, until the night Billy pulled him aside and told him his secret, and then proceeded to drop the biggest bomb ever. Billy was leaving the gang for good. It had taken him less than 2 minutes to make up his mind to go with Billy. But everything Caleb had spent 2 years working for had gone up in smoke that night. He didn't even have time to pack or say goodbye. Instead, Caleb made a choice to start running, and he was still running 13 years later. Now, Caleb ran into a back alleyway and immediately regretted the move when he hit a dead end. Cursing, he turned around, only to be blocked by 2 shadows. "About time we found you," Al sneered. The man's one eye gleamed in the dim light. The patch over his other eye was like a beacon, drawing Caleb's eyes to focus on its darkness. "We've been looking long and hard for you, boy." Tony moved closer. Caleb knew not to let the skinny man fool him. Tony was a boxer and could take down the best and biggest. But spending the last 13 years in jail hadn't been kind to either of the men. "Where you been hiding?" Caleb was bigger and faster than the 2 older men put together, but it wasn't size or speed that had fear snaking down his spine. It was the 2 9mm pointing directly at his chest. "I've been laying low, after all the mess. Besides, can't a guy just decide he needs a break?" Caleb tried to keep his voice calm as his eyes moved around the alley, looking for any escape. "Sure," Al smiled and nudged Tony. "You need a day or 2 here or there, but 13 years?" He moved closer. 13 fucking years!" he screamed, causing Caleb to flinch. "It's time you came back home and paid for what you did," Tony added. "I've paid. Besides, I'm trying this new thing." He backed up until he was pressed against a door. Thankfully, the knob turned easily in his hand. "It's called living," he said, just as he pushed himself into the doorway. He felt a stabbing pain in his side, but didn't stop as he raced through the back kitchen of a Chinese restaurant. He heard crashing behind him and guessed that Al and Tony were fighting with the kitchen staff, since he had pushed a whole stack of dishes onto the floor as he had raced by. When he hit the front of the restaurant, he glanced around quickly and decided to race around the buildings and head back down the same alleyway. He hunched behind a large trash can as he tried to get his breathing in check. The town was small enough that he knew it was almost impossible to lose the 2 men without outsmarting them. Besides, he didn't know who else from the gang was lurking in the shadows, looking for him. He hated that he had parked his bike right in the middle of the main parking lot. He was pretty sure that Tony and Al were sitting there, watching it, waiting for him to return to his wheels. He had gotten the bike a few years ago, after he had traded in the bike Billy had gotten him. This bike was bigger and more reliable. Plus, it was his only means of escape, which, he reminded himself, was now cut off. He waited for what seemed like hours, listening, waiting, but everything remained silent.